Who's looking for these girls? Who's looking for them? Is anyone looking for them?
We have so many ways of getting rid of bodies around here, just who knows.
How could you be that incompetent? No way.
Oh no, it just been screwed up for 20 years.
The Bibles and the Freeman children, Laura and Ashley, had been celebrating Ashley's 16th birthday. Laura was spending the night with Ashley at the Freeman farm, which is in rural Welch in northeast Oklahoma. That night, Danny and Kathy were both shot execution style, and the mobile home was set on fire, and the girls were never seen since.
It was about 3:30, 4 o'clock when they took Kathy's body out of there. And then the investigators was up in the house looking around. And right at 6 p.m. they handed me that search warrant, Steve Nutter, the OSBI agent. And he said, we're done here and we're turning the place over to you. He said, here's a search warrant. And he said, we didn't find any other bodies or anything in the house, so our investigation here is done. I said, what?
I heard of the district attorney saying, well, this is just dope deal. Tell the people out here in the yard. The people walk up to him, what happened here? Oh, just dope deal gone bad. They didn't know what the hell happened.
I knew something wasn't right. Something was absolutely wrong with this whole thing. Turning that place over when we've got 3 people still missing, you don't do that. You keep that thing locked down. You don't let a mouse in there.
My husband and I, we go at daybreak. First thing we find is Danny's body.
As I pulled up there, she's doing this, come here. And I said, what? She says, I think this is a body.
We got up on the floor and looked at it, sitting there laying out like this.
And I could tell immediately that there was a body. I said, Lorraine, did you move anything off of him? She said, no. She said, that's exactly the way I found him.
My comment was, they're idiots. Mm-hmm. These people that told us last night at 8 o'clock, they were experts. How can you leave a body in the fire?
People were looking for the girls. There was tons of rumors at that time that Danny had killed Kathy and had taken the girls and they were on the run. There were even rumors that the girls had killed Danny and Kathy and were on the run. So, but one thing was for sure was no one knew where the girls were, and everybody was looking for them. Tom Pryor and Joe were 2 private investigators that were called in by the Freeman family.
When everybody's there volunteering to help search, and that's when Tom finds the insurance verification in the road.
The insurance card is a smoking gun.
Joe bent over and picked up something about 50 feet up the driveway and said, what's this? I looked at it and I said, oh, it's insurance verification. It might come in handy. I put it in my pocket. Then I found out that OSBI was in charge of the investigation. So I called them. So I identified myself and told them I had some information concerning the killing and arson at the Freeman residence. He said, and what would that be? In a real smart aleck tone. I said, well, I've got an insurance verification on a blue car that I know there was a blue car seen leaving the scene at a high rate of speed, and thought there might be a connection there. Oh, you did you? He said. Well, I'm not interested, and hung up the phone.
And this is the 3rd day. You know, we know now, or we think we know now, that the girls may have been alive 5, 6, 7 days after they were abducted.
Had the OSBI agent followed by leads, we could have saved those girls. It eats holes in you.
And that's what's so damn aggravating about this deal. Them basically refusing to do their job. They had been taken to a New Year's Eve party they were having over there. They were abused at the party. So, you know, part of you thinks that, well, hopefully if they were drugged up, they don't remember much of it, or, you know, they're kind of out of it. That one piece of evidence would have totally turned everything over in that next couple of days and probably found the girls. But, you know, in most cases, that's the way it is. It's one thing that gives the killer away. We had our opportunity, but we didn't use it. And I still, some nights lay there in bed thinking, man, we missed it. And because of us, the girls went through a lot of torment that they didn't need to go through and didn't deserve at all.
That was the best little gal you ever seen, especially for a helper or a buddy or whatever. You couldn't ask for a better little girl. She didn't care if I wanted to work on a boat, that was fine. If we wanted to go fishing, that's fine. Whatever you want to do, Papa. Whatever you want to do, Papa. What are we going to do today, Ashley? Whatever you want to, Papa. That's all you'd ever get out of her.
You know, you just think, you know, what would her life have been like? You know, in the back of your mind, are they really gone? You don't have anything to say they don't. But, you know, you just have to believe she's out there somewhere, and it's just the one person that can pick up a phone or tell somebody that, hey, this is where your child is. You know, and you have enough faith that you hope that the good Lord leads somebody to pick up a phone and tell you.
Lorraine Bible did not have the national news knocking on her door, and she went knocking on their door. For, you know, almost 19 years, almost 2 decades, she has single-handedly kept this story alive and hot. That woman has no fear. She has went up and went toe-to-toe with drug dealers, mass murderers, serial killers, and doesn't blink an eye when she says, "Where's my daughter? I want my daughter home."
We've met with a lot of people, a lot of mean people, cartels.
Ronnie Busick was arrested and charged in April. He sits in an isolated cell in the Craig County Jail. Phil Welch and David Pennington, they died, they are now deceased. People that we've interviewed have said that they were both mean, cruel, horrible men. People were afraid of them. I mean, they consistently would threaten people, if you don't do what I say, or if you don't do this, you'll end up in a mine pit just like those girls. They scared people.
It was shocking. I knew David was not a good man. He had messed himself up with drugs, but I just never saw that in him. It just, you know, it's hard to see the evil side of a person. And he must have had an evil side that I didn't see. It's heartbreaking to think here I knew him for years and ministered to him, and yet he had that deep secret that he didn't let me know. I'm glad he didn't. Church doesn't change a person necessarily. If you look at it, the 2 guys that did not actually go to jail for it died vicious deaths. David died a terrible death, and so did Phil. And is that God's judgment? I have no idea, but I just know I'm glad I'm not in their shoes.
The piece of the puzzle that's really missing is where. The goal, I think, I can speak, has been to find the girls. That's been the primary goal, and it still is the primary goal, is to locate the girls and make a recovery. And people look at this and they tell us, oh, it's impossible. I don't work on that premise, you know. There isn't a case that's impossible to solve. They're just difficult. They find remains all the time that much older than this case. So it's certainly possible. The thing about this case is how slow I get impatient.
Within the roughly 4 square miles of the Pitcher city limits, there are 186 mine shafts. So I can stand here and tell you that there are 2 right over there, 4 right behind me at the base of this chat pile, and several, out in this former residential area. So it's a point of how do you help? If you have no known way of narrowing where the events occurred, it's almost impossible to sort through that much data and come up with anything that would be meaningful. Oh yeah, there's one. You'll want to get a picture of that. And every time you think, well, maybe this is the one, then you walk up on another one that has a similar possibilities. So it just takes time.
The goal, I think, I can speak, has been to find the girls. That's been the primary goal, and it still is the primary goal, is to locate the girls and make a recovery.
See, it's about 1 second. Not quite. It's about 10 or 12 feet. I mean, and my hope is just that we find them. That's that. And if we do, I'll be a very happy person.
So what was here, Gary?
This was the trailer. This is 412 South College where the girls were held.
All right. So this is Welch's place.
Yes. Okay. This was the area where the trailer was. Remember the picture you saw where we zoomed in? That's what's going to be.
We're not going to give up on this case. We want to find the girls. I think about them every day if they were my children. I just ask them to talk to me, tell me where you're at, help me find you. I would love to, I feel like there's little things in this case. Me and Gary both said there was definitely some divine intervention of us helping to find, to solve this case.
There were a lot of people that knew about this case, a lot. A lot of this information was already there, but it wasn't coming together. It's like working 4 jigsaw puzzles that's been thrown in one pile, and you're trying to get the pieces to the right jigsaw puzzle. That's kind of what it's like.
Justice is going to be when they meet their maker. I don't think there's going to be any satisfaction for us in this lifetime.
It's what you do and you see your child. It'll come in the end, but right now, it's like my job is I've got to find her.
It was Proverbs chapter 21, verse 15. And it says basically, when justice is done, evildoers tremble. I have that hanging on my wall next to the picture of the Welch girls in my office.
We want justice as much as we can get. Of course, we want that. But I think the recovery of these girls is more important than justice.
God will deal with him. And that's really the only comfort, is they'll have their day, like all of us will.